Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant YouTube channel. I'm your host, James Harris. In this episode, we're going to be doing a recommended reads for Comixology for September 2019. Let's jump in to my recommended reads for Comixology for this month. This list is a little bit shorter. I only have 4 recommendations altogether for you guys, but it's some really good ones. The first book I want to talk about is Bone, Volume 1, out of the Boneville. This is from Cartoon Books Digital. I know a few months back when Shazam was being released in theaters, and I did the recommended reads for Comixology and the spotlight on Shazam at that time. I talked about his Shazam story was really good, and I've always heard about Jess Smith, and I've always heard about Bone, but I've never had a chance to read it. So after reading and enjoying that story so much that he did on Shazam, doing his writing as well as his artwork, it just seemed like really awesome that they spotlighted him this month. And this is not the only book I'm going to talk about of his, but this is the one he was most well known for, was Bone. And it's the first volume, so you can dip your toe in it. If you, like me, read that Shazam story and wanted to know kind of where Jess Smith's roots come from in his independent work, this is a great place to start. Again, Bone Volume 1 out of Boneville, released by Cartoon Digital Books. You can check it out this month as part of this Comixology Unlimited, so definitely worth a checkout. Next book that I want to bring up is the book he actually, I guess it was his follow-up after he concluded Bone. He did a new series some years ago that was called Rascal, and they also have Volume 1 of that story, and it's Rascal Volume 1 Drift, also released by Cartoon Books Digital by Jess Smith, as well as he's doing the writing as well as the artwork. Again, these are 2 stories at the time they were out, I remember hearing about them, but again, it was something I was always going to get to. Like I said in the Shazam, when I talked about his Shazam story, I thought his artwork was super cartoony. Didn't think it was something that I could connect to till I actually tried. And that's one reason why I do these episodes, is to recommend different books to you to check out. Because sometimes I don't even know till I check things out. So I try to be way more open from suggestions that I get from you in the comments, from the Facebook group that we have for the Comic Book Society, the Savant Society, that we always recommend different books to one another, and I'm always open to try something new if I can get my hands on it and try it. And again, I was so surprised and so taken by his writing, as well as the gravitas his artwork had. Even though it was more on the cartoony side, it still conveyed a lot of emotion and action when it needed to. So, again, these are 2 books that I feel like are worth just, especially if you're subscribed to it, to check out. Again, very talented writer and artist. Again, he made me a believer with a Shazam story. So both of these I'm going to be checking out, reading. And let me know down below in the comment section if you want me to do reviews. And I haven't mentioned this. I should have mentioned this. The books that I recommend to you guys here on these episodes, if you want me to do reviews of those books here on the channel, let me know down in the comment section of the video that you're watching. If you're like, hey, I want to hear what your thoughts are or your opinions are on this and that, please review. I will, again, I'm totally open to giving you guys the content you want. So if you like to see that, let me know in the comment section below, and take a moment while you're doing that. If you haven't already, smash the like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have, make sure you click the bell notification so you get notified when new episodes drop on the channel as well. That's really important, because YouTube sometimes with their algorithm, if you don't hit the bell asking for notifications, you won't be notified, and sometimes you can miss out when new episodes hit the channel, be it via the podcast or actual video. So make sure that's very important, you hit that bell as well. The third book I want to talk about is Final Crisis. This is the DC Essential Edition of Final Crisis, also published by DC Comics. This was a big event that happened some years ago, written by Grant Morrison, drawn by Doug Mahnke, which is a fabulous artist, and we all know how great a writer Grant Morrison is. For me, some of his stuff can be hit or miss sometimes. This was a really good event that happened in DC. I would have to say this is like really stunning. I haven't seen these DC Essential Editions. I've been hearing about them recently, and this is following up after doing the whole Comic Book Collector's Guide episode about collected editions. And I tell you, this is an ever-changing thing. I know DC Essentials are a new thing that they've been putting out, where they're going back collecting. I think they have like special features and more behind the scenes stuff in the back of the book, like alternate covers, scripts, things of that nature. But I haven't checked this one out yet. I want to check it out and see. And I haven't read it in a while, so this might be something, again, let me know down below if you want me to review it. I haven't read Final Crisis since it actually came out. I can't even remember how long ago it was now. But I remember at the time reading it, and I was, getting the individual issues. But I haven't ever went back to reread the event at all. So this could be a good time for me to go back and revisit that and do a review. Again, let me know down below in the comments if you want to see that. And last but not least, for this month, that was one series that I've really been curious about that I haven't ever explored. And it's really funny because I had this weird relationship growing up with James Bond, and Dynamite recently started doing a series, and I've really gotten into James Bond probably the last 10 years or so, since Daniel Craig kind of took over the role. And I've become a huge James Bond fan. So I like that Dynamite was doing this. They got a hold of the property and they started doing like origin stories, filling out the background of James Bond and the different allies and characters in that world through, the comic series and spin-off series they've done. So this is James Bond Black Box Volume 1. This is the 2017 series. I think that started everything they're doing now. They've had multiple mini-series. They spotlighted different characters and spin-offs. Dynamite is real good where they get a property, a movie or TV property, and really expand out the property and like build out the characters and bring some really good writers. It's written by Benjamin Percy. I know he's done work over at DC as well. Like on Green Arrow and a few other different books. And the artwork is done by Rafa Labasco. Not too familiar with his artwork. When I saw the cover, looks interesting, and I just always wanted to. When I had seen them solicited, and I've seen them about, and I just never took the time to pick up one. So since it's available on Comixology Unlimited, why not? But those are the 4 recommendations. It was a lot of different stuff, but these were the 4 books that really caught my interest, or books that had kind of been, my on my to get around to read list. That just so happened to pop up, and it was so funny after the conversation a few months back with Shazam, and I was like, man, I want to read some, Jeff Smith's. And it's not necessarily like I don't necessarily know if I want to pay for it because I don't know if I would like it, but I would just like to try it to read it. And lo and behold, this month he's kind of one of the creators that's being spotlighted this month on the service. So it gives me an opportunity. It gives us opportunity to check out some of his previous works. So definitely that's worth checking out. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the channel and you're new here, we do comic book related content in all shapes, forms, and sizes. It's all related in the comic book industry as far as comic book television show reviews, cartoons, animated films, comic books themselves. We have deep conversations about the industry, as well as we have specialized series where if you're new to the to the hobby of collecting comics or just reading comics in general, I have a series that's called the Comic Book Collector's Guide. I will put a link to the playlist right here for you. It is about 24 episodes on that series at this point, so you can go through that playlist and really check it out. And it talks about all different aspects of collecting comics, from buying, storing, terminology to learn to know, online retailers to use, online subscription services that are available to you, all different aspects of the hobby. So again, if you're new to the channel, definitely check that series out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, smash that like button, hit smash thumbs up button. Also subscribe to the channel. Also, I do a podcast as well. It's called The Comic Book Savant. Also, I post all the recent episodes on here. I have I'm getting close to 450 episodes on the podcast. About 150, so roughly about a third of the episodes are listed here. I have a playlist that you can find as well with more of the more recent episodes of the podcast. If you blow through those and you want more to read, more to listen to, you can always subscribe to the podcast via any pod service. Just search for Comic Book Savant. You can find that there. And if you also want to become a part of the community, you can always just chime down in the comment section below, or you can go to Facebook. We have a Facebook group called the Savant Society. You go to facebook.com/groups/the Savant Society, and just request to join the group, and I'll add you on, and you can get to know the other members of the community. We talk, get to know each other throughout recommendations. We have a really good time, and I pitch different ideas for things that I'm going to do for the podcast, as well as here for the YouTube channel as well. So definitely check that out. And last but not least, before I go, if you like the content that I'm creating here and you want to consider becoming a Patreon supporter, you can do that over at patreon.com/comicbooksavant. You can check that out. And it's different levels and tiers that you can help support. And you get a lot of bonus and benefits and behind the scenes stuff there. So that's worth checking out as well. If you've been here for a while and you like the content and you would like to support, consider that as well. But until next time, you guys be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.